guys, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. And I've made a mistake. I have a very big home buying regret, and I do not want you to make this same mistake. So, we are more than halfway through one of the most tumultuous real estate years we have seen since COVID. So, should you believe the headlines, or are they all hype? And why, despite the headlines and the mortgage rates, is owning property still one of the smartest long-term moves you can make? You are going to learn why today once I tell you about the one pretty big real estate mistake that I made. I am Melissa Terzis, DC Real Estate Mama, and I've helped hundreds of people buy and sell houses. So if you are interested in anything like that, you can subscribe. You can also contact me. So I want to repeat a word that I said in the introduction: long-term. Above anything else, this is how you need to always think of real estate. Now, inventory is still tight in Northern Virginia and Maryland, especially for move-in ready homes with great schools in walkable neighborhoods. Buyers are circling, buyers are waiting, they are watching, they are moving slower because rates are hovering in the mid 6s to the low 7s. And yeah, people are like being pretty cautious right now. So some homes listed for sale are sitting while others are getting snapped up in days. Every single agent that I've spoken to has said the same thing. If they got multiple offers, they are feeling very lucky. If they have a listing that's not selling, they can point to a very perfect comparable, we call comp, across the street or around the corner that just sold for way more money. It's a very weird, very patchy market right now. So what does this mean for you and your home search? Before we jump into that, I'm actually not going to make you wait to hear what this big mistake was that I made. Yes, I have made mistakes. My real estate intuition is excellent, but it's been honed over many years of doing this. I bought my first home in a balanced market, and I sold it in a market that was heating up, but wasn't near peak yet. I received multiple offers, and I did get over list price. I bought my second home for list price in a crazy multiple offer market, and I still own that home. The real estate market then hit the 2008 bubble, and because I was working in the home building industry, I suspected that this was actually on its way to happening. I had been saving my money, the market was terrible, and off I went to buy myself a newly built home in a second home market near the beach. Now, I loved this house, but it was in a planned community. There was a lot of drama with the people who lived there, the developer who built the homes, lots of drama with him, and also with the town. The house was about 15 minutes from the beach, but that drive turned into 45 minutes to an hour during the summers when all the tourists came to town. Several years later, it got old because the girls were born. We would sit in traffic to get to the beach, then turn around and the girls would be fast asleep. So after a few years, I thought, we never come out here anymore. It's time to sell it. Now, my carrying costs on this house were very low, but I didn't think it was a house that would get a decent long-term renter. I wasn't interested in being a landlord out there, and it became kind of a drag to maintain it, so I listed it for sale, and within a few weeks, I had a contract. House was sold, I made a little bit of money, not a lot of money, but I made some money. A couple years later, when COVID hit, I was like, darn it, I missed that house. That would have been a great place for us to camp out. Couple years after COVID, the people I sold it to ended up selling it for twice what they paid me for it. I about fell out of my chair. I never would have predicted that that would happen, and I still kind of don't get it. They definitely got lucky because none of the other homes that have sold for that much. But the development wave finally hit that town, and some of the people who made it not so great ended up leaving or dying. And the new people moved in, and then prices started skyrocketing. All right, so here it is. I never should have sold that house. My insecurity about it came from the fact that I always questioned if it was a good deal when I bought it in 2008. The market was terrible, and second home markets do not move with any predictability or regularity. It can take 5 times as long for second home markets to rebound when there is a crash. It was really 8 years that I held the house with very little increase in value. Then I sold it, then it took off, and then it doubled in 5 years after that. All right, so here's kind of the summing that up. I wasn't wrong for buying a house in a depressed market. That was actually the good decision. But then I stopped trusting my decision when it took extra long to feel like a good investment. So I know 2 things now. First, I know how to make a more calculated investment. The infrastructure has to be there. Houses have to be in desirable areas with desirable features and not have any fatal flaws. Since I sold that house, I've purchased 1 home a year, and I don't plan on selling any of those ever. Second thing is that I know that buying in a down market or at unpredictable times is always worth it. And why? Because unless something catastrophic happens, you guys, house prices always go up. And hello, now we're back to modern day, present day. We are perceivably in a down market right now, depending on who you ask. Buyer sentiment is definitely down, even though some areas are still selling. Now, many areas in Northern Virginia are still seeing multiple offers. Yes, even in the dead of summer. But other homes are sitting with no discernible reason. So like I said, it's patchy, which is why the agents I have spoken with are all baffled when their home sits without offers, but the one across the street in similar condition sells for $100,000 more within a few days of being listed. So there is no waiting for a unicorn market. There is no magic moment where prices drop, rates drop, and the perfect house with a yard, walkability, top tier schools, and a kitchen that doesn't need gutting just appears. That doesn't exist. Right now, there are pockets of opportunity that many buyers are missing unless somebody points it out to them. Hi, that's me. All right, so where are the opportunities? Well, inside DC, where there is the most opportunity, I believe. If you are looking to live in the city or you want to pick up an investment property, now is the time. This is not a risky gamble, you guys. The city may not be super appealing right now to a lot of people for different reasons, but will this last? It's not like we're some small town in the middle of a huge state and the town's only employer left. Let's drill down to this a little bit more. So one of the most historically competitive DC neighborhoods has been zip code 20016. Most of that zip code is comprised of a neighborhood called AU Park, or American University Park. The median price for the last 6 months is $1.4 million, which is actually down 18%. Now, that provides a lot of opportunity, and you can bet your bippy, whatever that might be, but one of my teachers used to say that in school, that this is a neighborhood that has had a lot of Doge casualties. Cleveland Park's median price actually down 12%, standing right now at $1.65 million. Palisades prices are also down 20%, but here's something super interesting. The higher the price point, the more the price increases. Kalorama's prices are up 32% for a median of $3.95 million. Forest Hill's prices are up 14% to almost $2.4 million. Georgetown prices are up 16% to $2.35 million. Spring Valley is up 17% to $2.45 million. And then Wesley Heights is up 34% to $2.18 million. Now, DuPont and Logan Circles in the middle of the city, they're also up almost 20% from last year. And those median prices are coming in under $2 million. Guys, DC isn't dead. People with money are spending money. People at the price points under 1.5 million are still cautious and holding on. But when you've got that like luxury market up there that's still spending and still buying, it is kind of a good sign and to take and to say like, all right, well, stuff starts to trickle down to the lower price points. Maryland is the next place where I'm seeing opportunity. Take Bethesda as an example. One of the shining stars of Montgomery County, Bethesda has rarely seen a market where homes don't sell. Yet there are properties sitting on the market that would have been snapped up in like mere hours anytime in the past 15 years. In the last 90 days, the average days on market for Bethesda properties to get a contract, 21 days. The median days on market is 8 though. So that means that half of the homes are selling in less than 8 days. But currently, the actively listed homes, the median days on market, 54. So there are for sure opportunities there. Now, what happened and what's not selling? All right, homes that start out overpriced, and we always have a summer slowdown. So you've got those two things kind of happening, but this is definitely hitting some homes harder than others for sure. So in Bethesda, you've got Walt Whitman High School. That's been regarded as like the premier, light on top of the hill high school. I have argued that this proclivity for everybody to think Walt Whitman is the best and that it's, not any, like the premier high school. It's BS, you guys. I can tell you that the other Bethesda high schools just fare just as well for college apps and all that. That's definitely a conversation for another day, another video. Just know that perception right now is that Walt Whitman is like the Harvard of the area. And the things that people go through to buy a house in Whitman is mind-boggling. I've conducted searches over the past decade for clients who absolutely had to be in Whitman. There is usually nothing for sale there under 1.5 million. Today, there are 80 total homes for sale in the Whitman High School boundary area. 21 of them are under 1.5 million. The average and median days on market for these homes, 32. All right, there's opportunity here. So here's the good news too, as if that wasn't like also some good news. Prices are not falling in Bethesda. They are up a very respectable 4% over last year. Okay. Well, Northern Virginia now, let's go to you because Northern Virginia has been like this amazing shining star for the area and it has been on fire. There still is a chance for opportunity in many parts of Northern Virginia. The days on market averages for homes sold in Arlington in the last 3 months, the median is 7 days, but the average is 22 days. So how about for the homes that are currently on sale? Well, the average days on market right now, 90, median 67. So stuff is sitting longer. Whether that's a combination of the news plus just summer slowdown or whatever kind of remains to be seen. But again, we're, like the goal we're looking at right now and the word today, opportunity. Fairfax County is also at a median 7 days on market for houses closed in the last 3 months. 19 days on average though. Currently, there are also homes sitting on the market in Fairfax County. Median days on market right now is at 47, and average is 76. Fairfax County is very diverse, though. Not all areas are faring as well as others. It is important to drill down, not even like the town, but like the neighborhood or even your street, because again, you have to remember what everybody's kind of saying and seeing out there. It's patchy. So there's like no rhyme or reason. Now, I keep saying this, but it's worth saying again. Buying a home in a market where people are fearful in an area of the country that is not going to collapse, that always increases in value, in market value. That is a good decision. Is it always going to be worth it? Yes. Down markets are rare here, but we're actually in one right now. Plan to buy and plan to hold. Where people get in trouble is when they plan for real estate to be a short-term investment and they think we're going to exit this sucker in 3 to 5 years. That's not going to be enough time to hold on here. But if you hold on longer, like you're looking at the 15-year horizon, 20-year, it's great. Whatever. Now, most sellers right now are concerned and hoping for the best. If they don't receive an offer in a couple weeks, that used to be a couple days, they start to consider a price reduction. So catch that seller right before a price drop. This is when they are at their most vulnerable. They're sitting there with their agent discussing, do we drop it 10,000? Do we drop it 40,000? Do we drop it 50,000? But once they drop the price, the seller has renewed confidence again, like this time it's going to sell. And then you also potentially have more buyer interest that it regenerates. So real estate, you guys, isn't about what a neighborhood or a market looks like right now. It's about where it's going. And so if you can hold on for the long haul and you have a bit of faith and a bit of courage, you can absolutely win right now by going where others are hesitating. So that's that. Whether you are upgrading, relocating, or buying your first or second home, real estate's still one of the most powerful tools for growing generational wealth. I don't really care what the rates are this quarter. Like I bought property at ridiculous 7 and I don't even know, 3/4 interest rate, and it was an ARM, but whatever. I know that, what isn't going to change is land in DC Metro. They're not making more of it. And that the rates will eventually shift and there'll be times to refinance. So that is that, you guys. My contact info is coming next.